Hiya guys, and welcome back to Aid's Workshop. Well, got a bit of colour, sun's come out in Pembrokeshire, so it's about time. Anyway, with that said, did a clock video last time. This one's loosely clock based, but a lot more machining. A few bits and bobs, a job for work, and then making a tool that does happen to be for the clock, but machining involved. And then a couple of bushes at the end for the clock. So, enjoy guys, enough waffling. So you may wonder why I've got a large socket in my vise, and I've just clocked it up 35, 35, 35 and a half, yeah, 33. Okay, so I just clocked it up, found the center, 0, 0. Right, let's explain what I'm making. It's a little job for work actually. So lads in work quite often, as part of a repair procedure on a machine, on machines they do regularly, is to remove this pulley, and it's threaded on and there's no way they can grab hold of it. So what I'm making is, using the sacrificial socket, I'm going to cut some slots in it so that it'll fit down over there. They can put it in a little impactor and just break it loose on the thread. At the moment they're having to hit it you know, with a punch and a chisel, and you know, rely on the impact to get it off, and it's difficult to access. It's down in a recess. So little impact socket is going to be, but it's only aluminium, so all I need is 4 slots in here. So that's what I'm going to do. This is a carbide cutter. Yeah, I wouldn't be cutting a socket with high-speed steel. You get the odd spark, but nothing drastic. Okay, that's 5mm deep. I've done in X, I'm doing in Y now. So I'm just offsetting 0.2 either way, just to clean up the side walls. So let's just, let's try not to hit the tripod. Okay, across the far face. And then back the other way, 0.2, and do the near face. So it's just 4 slots in the socket really. Okay, that should be done. Let's have a look. Let's get the wheel in there and see if it fits. Where did I put it? Here we are. Okay, so wheel goes in there. Oh, come away a bit. And that grabs hold of it. There we are. By the ribs on the top, by the narrow ribs. I think it's stronger in the narrow rib than it would be in the web there. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. They can drop that down in the hole now and pretty much do the job to get them off a lot quicker than beating it up. They quite often, ow, ooh, that was sharp. Got a little splinter now. Let's have a look for that. So yeah, run the whole stone over this, deburr it all, and then that's ready to go. So jumping on the lathe, I am making a spring removal tool, or mainspring removal tool for a clock. So just turn the OD so it'll fit inside the spring barrel. And now I'm turning, excuse me, I got a bit of shaky going on here. And now I'm turning the bore so that when the spring is wound, we'll go inside it. It'll all become clear. But I want to, if I'm going to remove the springs from the mainspring barrels on this clock I've been working on, I do need to do it in a controlled manner, because there's a lot of stored up energy in these springs, and I do not want to let it go with a bang, for my own safety and to protect the spring and the bits and pieces of the clock. So the more I dig into this clock, the more machining is going to need to be done. So although this is predominantly a machining channel as opposed to a horology channel, I think the two are going to combine. So I'm just going to go into my shoulder at 25mm depth with this, which is there. Okay, So yeah, just boring it out to a depth of 25 mil. It'll become clear. I'll show you a rough explanation in a moment. So, the dimensions done. Let's just part that off the solid stock. A little bit of rod inside to catch it. Nearly there. And there we go. Easy peasy. So having parted it off, let's just clean up the parting face. No particular dimension, just clean up, make it look nice. Okay, swap tools for the chamfering tool now. Right, try and do this on the fly. Holding the camera handheld today. So, excuse the wobbly pictures. But my normal camera holding device, which isn't a tripod, it's a bench vise. So, nice chamfer on there. Can be quite large, this. Here we are, that's nice. Okay, chamfer on the inside edge. I think I can use a Noga for that. I do apologise, I am shaking around, I do understand. Okay, debird, all happy. I think I'll probably run a bit of wet and dry around that off camera just to make sure there's no sharp edges. And that's that part done, other than a slit. So we're finishing the lathe. We're over to the mill now. I'm going to put an 8mm slot through the wall, but not through the head. The head's what's going to hold it all together. Let's go to my 0 mark. Okay, oh, not quite to depth. There we are. So eyeball the middle, it's not critical. This isn't a keyway. It's a clearance slot for the spring tail to come through. So the part of the spring that hooks in the barrel is going to pass through that slot. So with that done, there we are. There's the slot in that part. So you need a bit of deburring. That's that bit done. So separate to that, I've turned up an aluminium ring. So the idea being I'm going to hold the barrel in the 3-jaw chuck to stop it rotating. But obviously because I need to access this side and the gear's bigger, I got this aluminium ring which just slip fit over there, larger than the gear. Okay, so this is the main wheel. So this is going to want to slit in, but I think I'll just do that. I could put slitting saw up and do it, but I think shall I do it with a slitting saw? Yeah, why not? Let's do it properly. I could do it with a hacksaw, but I'll do it with a slitting saw. So we're all locked off on the centre line. Bit of WD-40 on the slitting wheel. What am I running at? 650 RPM. Might jump a bit as I break through. Sweet. So, let's put basically a hacksaw cut through there, but a very neat one. Maybe I should have done it with a hacksaw after all, because when I tried it, I squeezed it down onto the barrel. I could squeeze it down and shut the gap. So I was worried about the amount of grip. So I've just placed it back up, slipped it over the wheel to line it back up in the vise, clamped it up, and just lowered the cutter down 1mm to open that slot up a bit. So hopefully this time it'll work. So I tried it out and it didn't work. I couldn't fit it in. Got the diameters right, but the tail of the spring just wouldn't fit through that narrow slot. So opened it up, what, 5 mil, 2.5 mil aside. Let's just bring it 2.5 the other way. This is the final 0.5 mil. Here's 2. .5. So we did have a 10 mil slot. Was it 10? 8. We've now got a 13 mil slot. So let's try that out. So I'll deburr it all again and see if we can fit that in. And as you can see, that slot is now 5 mil wider. And yeah, so it's experiments. But once I've got this tool, and I'm confident it will work, or the design will work, you can buy machines for actually doing this. But it's like support on 2 ends on a rotating spindle. Well, I got one of those. I got a lathe, so my lathe is doubling up with a few fixtures and fittings to become a mainspring removal refitting tool. So step 1, little screwdriver underneath the cap, pop. It's a steel cap, little steel screwdriver end. It was just the right shape and size. Pop the end cap off. There were a few slithers of brass around there, the little rebate, but okay, so we got that off. So it's still captivated in there. Let's take it to the lathe and I'll show you how the tool works. Okay, so let me just show you the plan. So the barrel is in there, in its aluminium ring, held in the chuck. I can rotate the barrel. I have a ratchet tap wrench, so I've set that. Obviously that's got a square in the end for holding taps, but I can screw it down and it fits on the place where the clock key would fit, no problem, and grips on there. So, okay, that's that done. So with that said, my retaining ring for the spring, I'm just going to slip over the outside of there. Put the chuck key in place, or tap wrench in place. Just push the tailstock in and lock it off. Okay, so it's at this point I can wind up the spring. Now there's a bit of load on it, as you can see. It's turning the chuck backwards, but not a great deal. So I'll wind the spring up as if I was winding up the clock. And this is actually the second one now. So let's get it somewhere near. I don't want to be fully wound. Right, okay. So I've put the little slit in the ring here in line with the tag on the spring. So if I put that in there now, okay, that now fits in there, which is the retaining ring. Now I can undo. I'll just hold it in. Now at some point there we can see the key, the lever here. When that comes away, all the force is gone. Right, okay, so I can take that off, and I can now, with a little bit of jiggering, turn it backwards. The spring, it should come off the hook at some point, and there we are. That's the spring captivated in the ring. Now I'm seeing another horror here, something I didn't want to see, but this spring, let me show, it's been butchered. It's got a tag hanging out of it, so I think the original hole, which is down here somewhere, has begun to split and has formed this nasty sheared off piece here, which is very near the end of the spring. So it wasn't long until that spring was going to give. So the problem now is there's only one way to get that spring out of there, and that's push it out. I've got no hole in the end of the tag to grab onto, to wind it back up, hold the ring, and then pull it out. So yeah, I was hoping to be able to show that, but this is the second one, and both of them have got this problem. So we are going to need new springs. So okay, well, they are available online. I can take this point to measure up the springs, spec them, and then we'll be able to order some new ones. So at least when we put it back together, it'll be good. So barrel arbor should, by rotating backwards, should come out of here. It will, I'm assured it will. Let's use my key and just backwards. Being careful not to get there it is. Okay, so the arbor now has come off its little key. That looks fine, and we've got the arbor out. So there's only one way to do this now. I put this in the vise with a sock over it. I'll show you. So old sock, it's there in the vise. I'm going to push the spring as a whole out through from the outside edge, and it'll go poof. So yeah, now will it go poof. And because I'm not going to reuse these springs, so at any point now it'll just go, and it's very close. Should go any second now. The outside of the spring is still in the barrel here. You just try and catch it. Could have made up a little knocker to go in here, which is the right bore, but I haven't. There you go. So the spring is now in there, safely captured, not going to hit me or anything else. So out with that. And there we are, inside the sock is the spring. Now something's telling me straight away we have an issue with this spring. There's the problem. As you can see, that's shearing its way back. That should have just been a keyhole shape in there, but we're very near the end of the spring. That wasn't going to last much longer. Anyway, the other issue is, let me get the spring barrel. So just going over to the lathe. Now typically you're going to see 2.5 to 3 times the diameter when it's unwound. That's not twice. Well, maybe it is twice the diameter, but what it says is that spring's tired. So measure up the spring. I need to write on here which one it is in case they're different. But measure up the spring, measure the length of the spring. So I haven't mentioned, so when I order springs, first thing I need to know, barrel size, not important really, but this size, which is the width of the spring, the gauge or power of the spring, which is the thickness of the material, obviously the type, I know it's whole end spring, and then of course I need to measure the length. Now because I'm not going to reuse these, I can open it up, put it onto a tape, measure the spring, that sort of idea, so that's not a problem. So I need length, thickness, width and design, and that'll give me something to order online as long as I'm close. Length, thickness and width. Happy days. Now I believe this clock has, I don't think it's going to be 3 types, but I think there are 2 types of spring in it, because I know that on the one side this is the left hand barrel, but I know on the other side the center one is the same size as this, but the one on the other side is larger. So we could have 2 types of spring, we could have 3, we'll find out. I haven't removed the spring and I'm giving them a quick wipe over, and I got the arbor here. In the barrel I can see it's an elongated hole. If I put the arbor in, look at this. The wear in there, even though it needs a bit of wriggle, is excessive. It actually moves side to side, so that's going to need a bush. The barrel cap has a little brass bush in it, and it fits on this side, and again really excessive wear in there. So yeah, I'm going to have to take this bush out, replace it, have one the right size, and I'm going to have to bush this. So with that said, the bush for this can have a head on the outside because that's in clearance there. The frame or the body of the clock is out here, so that shaft, that's basically in clearance. Okay, so it can have a head on the outside without causing a problem. This part has a head on the inside, and it's smaller than the bore of the spring, so that's just something to bear in mind. As long as it's smaller than the bore of the spring when it's on the arbor here, that's sorted. So bush to be made for there in brass, bush to be made for there in brass. I am going to probably Loctite them in, but I'll also stake it from the inside as well. So the finished size of the hole, which has got to be whatever this arbor size is here, and this one here, I'm not sure if they're the same or different, but I can measure them up. But the hole size in the bushes needs to be, you know, there needs to be a little bit of play, but not like a, I don't know, waving a sausage in the Albert Hall, which is what that's like. Okay. So, there you can see, I think, I have got the barrel there. A hole isn't on centre because it's worn one way. So I've got, okay, let's go back 2 steps. The diameter of the arbor that fits in there, the bushing bore, is going to be 6 mil. Okay, the existing hole in there is about 6.5. I can measure going round, but there's quite a bit of clearance. I am going to put a bush diameter of 8 mil in there. I have a centre drill here, which I am going to put to bring it into round by just feeding the centre drill, taking out all the intermittent cut. So I'm just winding the centre drill in tiny bits at a time, so that the hole isn't influencing the centre drill. The centre drill is bringing the hole into round, albeit oversized. So I've got a good land there now. This isn't very thick. So this centre drill measures just under 8 mil. I'm not going to go all the way in with the centre drill onto the parallel part, but far enough, there it is, that I've got a true countersink that's running true in there. Okay, so it's going to be 8 mil, so the next step is going to be a 7.5 mil drill. And the 7.5 mil drill should pick up on that true area that I've just machined and put a 7.5 mil hole through there. I'm just going slow with this. I'm only doing 300 RPM. I suppose this is about 3 mil thick. So this is the barrel for the spring that is chime side. Okay, there we are. That's a 7.5 mil hole through there. So I think we'll go a little larger, maybe, I don't know, 7.7 maybe. Yeah, let's get a 7.7 drill. Yeah, let's go 7.7, and then the final thing I'm going to do is put an 8 mil reamer through. So again, this is just taking probably 0.2 out of here. Okay. I suspect that drill's seen better days. And that's through. So next thing I need to do is get hold of an 8mm reamer. I can get the 7.7 back in the drill index. So I'll find an 8mm reamer, come back. So 8mm reamer now. Of course, ideally, I'd have bored this out. But I haven't got a boring bar that small. With Sunday morning in the shed, I could grind one up. In fact, I probably have got one, but let's just... It's an H7 reamer. Okay, 8mm. So now we have a true hole. The gear is running true. And we have a true hole of 8mm nominal reamed hole on centre. So now we can make a bush. The bush is going to have a 6mm up the bore. And the good news with that is that I'll have a mil wall thickness for the bush. So the head, which is going to go on the outside, I'll probably go 10mm. And I have some 10mm brass. So it's going to have a 10mm head, probably 2mm thick, an 8mm portion that fits in, and then a 6mm hole up the bore. So, get some brass up in the truck now and make a bush. So I've just faced it off and centre drill the end. And I'm just going to clean up the OD of this 10mm brass. Using the power feed. Or should be more than that. So I'm looking for an 8mm diameter on here. I'll get a mic out in a minute, but I need to know how far back for the shoulder, so we'll have a look. Just measure the thickness of the material, and it's 2.7mm. But it's 2.5 that we're going through. I'm going to go through onto the inside by 2.2mm. Just touch on that face again. Give that a little skim and set a 0. So, 8mm over 2.7. I think what I'm going to do is go further than that, go about 4mm, and then face it off to length afterwards, because that'll give me something to measure at 8mm. Right, that's 4mm. We'll start with the calipers and go to a mic. Oh my goodness, 8.03. I don't believe that. Well, I do believe it. Let me just check I haven't gone straight undersize off the bat. Oh goodness, one cut. Right. That was a bit of luck. I just thought, oh, we'll take, you know, 1/2mm off the side, something like that, and I literally hit it smack on the number with a roughing cut. Aye. I think I should put a lottery ticket on. Okay, so I said 2.7, didn't I? So I know I stopped at 4mm there. Let's just go to 4mm. I need to pace a bit off this now. Till it's 2.7. That's going to stick through the back. Here we go. Right, now what I need is a 6mm ball. Let me just center drill that again. And I'm going to 6mm ream it. So 5.5 mil drill maybe. Start with a 5.5. I still can't believe I hit that number. Smack on. I'll hit that size, smack on. Go far enough that when I part it off I'm not parting the whole thing, I'm parting into the fork. And enough room for the reamer to get in and get a good size. How far is that in? Oh, probably gone a couple of mil further than I needed to. Okay, so I might go 5.8 and a 6 mil reamer. I'll get those bits together, come back. Okay, so 5.8 mil drill. Again, the 6 mil reamer. Okay. So the spindle now, I'm going to try that in there in a second. The spindle should be a much better fit in there, hopefully not too sloppy, but I don't want it too tight. So let me put the drill away. I'm going out of shot, disappearing across the workshop here. There's that spindle. Fits in there. And it's got a bit of play. That's what we wanted. Because from what I've read, what I've understood, what I've watched, the fits aren't tight, you know. There's always got to be end float in shafts, and there's always got to be a bit of free play. Alignment of the two sides are what's important to keep the depthing of different gears together, or wheels. So I'm going to get a tiny bit of wet and dry. Just break some edges on me. I'm not going to file it, I'm just going to break some edges with a little bit of worn out wet and dry. So shall I do that now? Yes. And first thing, find some wet and dry. Here we are. Okay. A little bit of wet and dry. Okay, so now I need to part it off. Let's just turn that off a minute. What did I say about 2 mil? Bit smaller, doesn't need to be of a great size. Okay, let's part that off. There she blows. Right, holding that's going to be a bit of fun when I put it back in. So, there's the makings of my bush. I am going to face off that burr. Oh, it actually came off. May just be able to polish the side. If I can hold it in the chuck, I will, otherwise I'm going to have to hold it in a collet. And I don't particularly want, well, I could put a 10mm collet up and do all these bushes in that, I suppose. Probably what I should have done to start with. When I get into making the bushes for, oh come on, out of the way, there we go. When I come to making the bushes for the next barrels, I'll probably swap to a 10mm collet in there. So let's see if my little chucky can hold that nicely without damaging it. It's a delicate little, I don't need any great grip on here because it is a delicate little, oh come on, can't get my fingers. Oh, what's wrong with you? Gotcha. Just a little nip. So a gentle face on there. This is the outside. I may put a little oil sink on here. Not quite. Okay. No reason why we can't have a chamfer on there. Let's try not to hit the chuck. We won't try not to hit the chuck, we won't hit the chuck. Okay, not too big. And I think if I put my centre drill back in, which I know is 8mm, I think I can use that. Put an oil sink in there. Just a little bit. Just slow that down. Stop that riding. That's a nice oil sink, that'll do. So, there is my bush. And although there is a little clearance, it's certainly not slopping about like it was before. So I need to take this up to the house now, give it a good clean, put it through the ultrasonic, clean it out. There's a burr on the inside of there I need to remove. I'll get that with a Noga. Not quite. Get the outer one with a Noga. Can I get the inner one? I can. Okay. So clean all this. Then it's going to be Loctite the bush in from the outside. And when I've done that, I think that will have done it, to be honest. I can't see it coming out. I could just stake, once I've Loctited in and the Loctite's gone off, I could just stake around the outside of that head just slightly, maybe 4 little tiny centre pops, just to swage out that 0.2 surface, and that'll prevent it ever coming out. So there we are, beating about the bush. Okay, so halfway through the out clip and the battery died, so never mind. I have to put this one on charge. I've got another one in the camera. So thank you for watching, guys. Yeah, it's different to what I normally do, but there's lots of machining in it. But hopefully I've still got your interest. I haven't been putting videos up as lately, but when the weather's nice, work's been so busy. When the weather's nice, I want to be in the garden, having a barbecue, a couple of tinnies, that sort of idea. But yeah, the clock has got this clock. I know I've taken on a more complicated one than I probably should have, but it's got my interest. It's just something new. And it's something I can potter with when maybe one day I retire. But if I sort of put the tools together, then, you know, I've got that scope to be able to repair clocks. The cutter grinder that I've got, it's still on the back burner as a project. And of course the mini lathe is nearly there now. And I did mention when I started the mini lathe that I had a purpose for it. And the purpose is going to be for clock making very small parts, or a lot smaller parts, something a lot more delicate than the Warco. So anyway, that sort of explains that. But yeah, I'm still having fun, and there'll still be engines to make, and maybe Stuart models to make, and machine improvements to make. And yeah, I'm just taking you along with the journey. So yeah, it doesn't seem as popular as fixing machines up and the general Warco stuff and what have you, but that doesn't matter. I'm not in it for popular videos. I'm in it just to show you little techniques and ideas I've had and that sort of thing. So my idea for the spring unwinder, or winder, spring removal tool, you can buy loads of them, but I've got a machine that's 3/4 of it is there, which is the lathe. So as you saw in this video, I used the lathe as 3/4 of the machine I needed, a couple of turn pieces, and we were good to go. And it was all in a controlled manner. Well, taking the spring out of the metal part was probably a bit dodgy, but inside a sock, tap it down through. I probably will make, in case I come across it again, a plug that goes down through the spring clamp just to knock it out in one go. But I'm going to have to make another one of those of a different size for the next barrel. But as I go on, do different clocks, I'm going to have lots of different sizes. So I'll probably stamp that one up with what it's for, and then all the sizes, if nothing else. And it might come in for several different clocks, or just for this particular model, who knows. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I might be back soon. I might be back in a month. I might be 6 weeks. Who knows? But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And we'll see you all next time. Cheers now.